the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart.
What is good, YouTube? This is your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
This is the Courtside View Podcast. We are back today, and we are talking about the NFC West division, the final week of our preview of the NFC, and we're concluding with the NFC West. And I want to talk about the Seattle Seahawks first, and then we'll get to the other teams. This team, I like Mike Macdonald. I do. He was an excellent defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. They had an amazing game plan against the 49ers on Christmas, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And against the Kansas City Chiefs, they held the Kansas City Chiefs to under 20 points against Patrick Mahomes. That's an accomplishment in itself, too. So Mike Macdonald, what I've been hearing that the defense, they seem energized. They seem like it's going to be much improved. You know, Pete Carroll, although in previous years was known for defense, it seemed like the defense had regressed with Pete Carroll, but with Mike Macdonald, a new voice, it seems like they're starting to get back to that old style of just enforcer of intimidation when it comes to the 12th man, when it comes to Seattle Seahawks defense. Byron Murphy II, he was drafted to the Seattle Seahawks. He came from Texas, and what I've been hearing and what Brian told me too, I've been hearing some good things about Byron Murphy. The dude, he has been dominant in camp. He's been dominant in the preseason. Just some of the clips that I've seen, just some of the analysis I've heard from other former players, it seems like they expect big things for Byron Murphy. He seems like he'll be a game breaker, a game wrecker in the future. So that I'm very excited to see Seattle's defense this year. What about you? How do you feel about Seattle defense and also Byron Murphy?
As far as the defense goes, they have dudes on that defense, and I think they've acquired some dudes in the offseason as well. I'm looking at, they got Jonathan Hankins, who's a solid guy to have it at the one tech. I should know because he played for the Cowboys, and I was sad to see him go. But I don't know if they got Jerome Baker, solid middle linebacker. Let's see who else they get. They got a few dudes over here from free agency. But yeah, man, they really, I guess that's what happens when you get a defensive minded coach. You want to bolster up that defense because a lot of times the Seahawks for years they had dudes on the defense, but they as a whole unit, they really couldn't get it together. And you would see they would be in a lot of shootouts, and Geno Smith would have to go band for band with these other QBs. And you either win or you either lose. But you bolster up that defense. I mean, you got players on the outside. You got Devon Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen. So you got those guys. You got edges. You got like guys like Boye Mafe, supposed to be a solid edge guy. You got Leonard Williams as well at the defensive tackle. So I mean, that defense should be very much improved. You got rid of some guys, like you got rid of what's his name? Short guy that plays safety for them.
Was it it wasn't Quandre Diggs, was it?
Yeah, it was Quandre Diggs. Yeah, he got rid of him. He wasn't performing up to standard. So we got Kayvon Wallace too. Interesting. But I expect this unit to be much improved compared to last year. As far as the offensive side,
that's my question on offense, is specifically the offensive line. Abraham Lucas,
he's hurt.
He's on the PUP list, and Charles Cross. Those two dudes, they're probably the best out of the group. I looked at PFF; they ranked Seattle Seahawks offensive line, I think 31st in the National Football League, and they brought in, I believe, some of the dudes. They were like backups, they were like bubble starters. It's not a good look for the offensive line. Luckily, they have elite wide receivers on the outside and in the slot, but and then you also have some solid running backs. But it doesn't matter when you can't protect your quarterback, and that's going to be the biggest question mark entering the season. Matter of fact, it is the biggest question mark entering the season is that offensive line. Can Abraham Lucas and Ken Charles Cross be good? Be good. You know, I remember the rookie year. I remember hearing a lot of buzz surrounding Charles Cross in his rookie year, Abraham Lucas as well. Can they be serviceable for the Seattle Seahawks? Because, you know, left tackle, right tackle, those are two of the most important positions on the offensive line. And if you can have those two positions solidified, that'll do wonders for your team. But that interior, oh my God, who's center, right guard, left guard? Good luck.
Connor Williams, I'm familiar with your game.
Good luck. Good luck.
Lincoln Tomlinson, Anthony Bradford.
I want to talk about JSN for a minute, because I feel like this is the year where it should all come together. Like, there should be no more, all right, we're gonna focus a lot on DK and Tyler Lockett, and then JSN will come along. Nah, like this should be the year that they should really utilize JSN to his full capabilities, because I'm looking at a lot of clips of him in training camp, one-on-ones. He's a route running extraordinaire. Like, he should be utilized a lot more, especially in the slot position, where he does wonders in the slot position. He's quick. He's very elusive. He can make people miss. He can separate. So there's no excuse for the Seattle Seahawks to not utilize JSN to his full capabilities. I was seeing something about utilizing him like Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I agree, because he's that talented. And I think as a route runner and as a pass catcher, he could do a lot of things for the Seattle Seahawks. It's just about Geno Smith and that offensive line doing their job and trying, making sure that we can get the passing game to work and not just solely rely on just the running game. And I think this should be a big year for JSN. What about you? How you feel about JSN this coming season?
I was super high on JSN coming out of Ohio State in the draft. That was last year, correct?
I think so. Yeah. It should be last year.
Yeah, I was super high on him coming out of Ohio State. Projecting to be the number one receiver off the board. I think his skill set from the slot is perfectly suited for the slot, especially in this system. You got DK on the outside, Lockett on the outside, Jaxon Smith-Njigba in the slot. I'm not sure why they weren't giving him the looks as much as they should have last year. He's definitely had games where he was going crazy. I know against my Cowboys, we all know he was tearing us up over there. But like you said, I expect him to get more work and get him more involved in the offense, because Tyler Lockett, he's getting up there in age. I mean, he's still a good player, and we obviously got DK over there. But slot is a lot of teams is moving the receivers over the number one guys, moving them to the slot every now and then. But you got a bona fide guy in the slot like JSN. I don't know, ain't no linebacker covering him. You get it's a mismatch. His routes are too clean, and he's not fast, but he's quick.
Yeah,
he can run his routes properly, and he has good hands. So I expect him to be a huge focal point in the offense this year. But like you said, it's contingent on the offensive line being able to protect Geno long enough. But
you're right. You're right about that. And the thing is that even if the offensive line's not good, him in the slot, I mean, since he's in the slot so much, you're not going to be able to throw down the field a whole lot. So you're going to have to throw it to the slot a whole lot, because you're not going to be able to throw it downfield because the offensive line's not going to be able to hold up. So there should be no excuse why JSN shouldn't be getting a lot more targets this season.
The number one cheat to creating separation is motion. And it is a daggone shame to see offenses not utilize motion almost every play. Motion in one dude tells you so much about the defense. That you can literally tell if it's man or zone based on emotion.
Yeah.
And as long as they, and I'm not too sure about who Ryan Grubb is. I'm not too sure. I know I'm familiar with the defensive coordinator, Aiden Dirty. Dirty. He was with the Cowboys last year and years before that. I'm not too sure about Ryan Grubb and what type of offense he likes to run. But you better motion Jackson Smith all over the freaking field.
Yeah. Yeah. They
And you
said
got running
so.
backs too. So I mean, the
Guess
offense
what?
should be good.
So Ryan Grubb, he came from Washington. He was in, I think he was the
Like
offensive
Washington State.
coordinator, University of Washington.
Okay, who I thought you meant the Commanders. I was about to
Oh
say, oh, they in trouble.
no. Oh my God. University of Washington. He was the
Okay,
offensive coordinator for 2 seasons. So he's transitioned into the Seattle Seahawks as the offensive coordinator. I'm not very familiar too much about the offensive scheme
I
for
mean,
the
oh, we
Washington for
saw
Washington.
what the Huskies was. Wait, was he was the Huskies coach?
He was the offensive coordinator.
I mean, a coordinator for them.
Yeah, he was the offensive
Well, if you watched a
coordinator.
little bit of Michael Penix film, you should know a
Oh
little bit
yeah,
what they like to do
I,
on offense.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't know what scheme
Oh,
they were running.
okay,
I
I
don't
got
know if it was an air raid. I don't know if it was a, pro style. I don't know. I don't know what they were running. I don't know if it was a spread, but it worked. It was amazing. I mean, they made it all the way to the final game, so something had to click. And Michael Penix, he made Michael Penix look like a freaking amazing quarterback. So it should work. Romo Dunze, he was amazing on under that system. So oh
you.
yeah,
Jalen
and
Polk.
and then remember they had three really good receivers. Well, Seattle, you could say the same thing. They have three
Yeah,
really good receivers, and they were able to spread the wealth around each receiver, and each receiver were able to get theirs. I feel like that can transition well for the Seattle Seahawks and what they're trying to do.
Washington, they did have a really good O line though.
That's the thing. Their O line was one of the best. That's the problem with the Seattle Seahawks. How are they going to address that O line?
I
Because
think the biggest thing for them would be continuity because I
yeah,
see a couple new guys. You got Connor Williams, Lakin Thompson, everybody else you drafted, but Lucas
yeah,
Abraham missing reps in
it's
the
not good.
training camp and preseason could
Hmm.
mess up the continuity a little bit. So that's probably the biggest concern for them.
Yeah, uh, as long as Sam Howell's not starting at quarterback, they should be relatively decent on that
I was
end.
I was seeing Sam Howell propaganda from Seahawks fans. I was like, oh Lord, they drinking the Kool-Aid like them Washingtonians did.
Get out of here. He would be a disaster as the quarterback because he will hold the ball too long and he would get
Mm.
sacked every time. It will be an absolute disaster. It will be just like on the Commanders where he will hold the ball too long, he would overthink things, and it would be either a turnover or it would be a sack. It would just be a disaster. I just feel like it's a good thing that Geno Smith he was able to get healthy and he's a relatively serviceable quarterback. I wouldn't be very comfortable with him as my quarterback, but at least I know that we don't have a sorry excuse for a quarterback. We don't have a quarterback that shouldn't even be starting or that's a bubble starter. So uh this team, oh man, I don't know, man. I feel like are we sleeping on the Seahawks?
Um, Maybe a little bit. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Seahawks. I don't think they're like any contenders or anything, but I don't. I mean, they'll probably be in playoff contention for sure if Geno
It's
Smith stays upright and
yeah,
he
yeah.
doesn't have like major aggression or anything. But as long as the offense and as long as the defense is slightly improved and the offense remains clicking, I mean, they'll win a lot of games.
I think this team I
But they
think
are
this
playing in a
team
tough division.
yeah, but I think this team I think they'll be good this season. It's just that offensive line and I can't overstate how important the offensive line is. Like them trenches that's the in my opinion that's besides the quarterback, those are the most important parts of a team, like them trenches, the O line and D line and I think they'll figure out a way to work around it and I expect them to win a, a good amount of games. I expect them to win 8, 9 games, be in the playoff hunt. it wouldn't shock me if they made the playoffs. I like this team. I like the new head coach. I think the offensive coordinator, the transitioning from University of Washington to the Seattle Seahawks, I don't see how it doesn't work. I like the receivers that they have. I think Noah Fant is a decent tight end. Kenneth Walker, I like Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. They have good running backs. They have a solid defense. Tariq Woolen, I don't know how much I can take from those training camp clips against Calvin Ridley, but he looked good to me so far. And with Calvin Ridley, I'll say this about Calvin Ridley. I watched a comparison between Calvin Ridley in 2021, right before he got suspended when he was on the Falcons, versus 2024. I don't see much of a difference in terms of his ability to separate, his quickness, his speed. And the fact that Tariq Woolen was able to keep up with Calvin Ridley, I think that's a good sign. I think Tariq Woolen, it seems like the head coach has really lit a fire under him. He seems more motivated than ever. I just don't know how that's going to translate in the regular season. Will he be a better man-to-man corner? Will he be a better zone corner? Because last year we saw with Pete Carroll, they would bench him in some games.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he'll get better from this, but it seems good to me.
Measurables and all of that.
He's like 6'3". He's like 6'3". Dude can run a 4.3.
Yeah.
crazy measurables.
He's not like stiff either. Like he can move very well.
He just needs the IQ, the instincts.
Yeah. As far as Ryan Grubb, he said earlier in the season, earlier in the year, I guess around like in June, he said we want to be a physical, dominant team, at the same time have that same explosive, confusing element that people are used to. And on using RBs in the passing game, he said, "Oh, I love doing that. I love doing that. We want to make every guy on the field, all 5 of them, as dangerous as possible from any position on the field."
What if they're going to utilize RPOs and bubble screens?
I mean, they got speed all over the field.
Yeah, I would utilize that. Shoot, with all that speed on the outside and in the slot, and then you have Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Like you have so many options. This team is going to be solid. They're going to be a good team. It's just about staying healthy and figuring out a way to maneuver past that offensive line. Everything else, it should take care of itself. I think Byron Murphy, he's going to be an amazing rookie for them. Jerron Reed, he's a decent player as well. So man, they got some dudes. They got some dudes in the trenches and in and outside. Devin Witherspoon, I love Devin Witherspoon as a corner. So yeah, let's
just let me be me.